Leo's hands trembled as he signed the final document on his datapad. The dome property on Zarian 7 was officially his. 40 hectares of crimson desert that most species considered worthless. The Galactic Council representative, a gelatinous being from the Andromeda sector, gurgled what might have been laughter. No water for 300 kilometers, human. Your species' optimism never ceases to amaze me. Leo just smiled. After 20 years piloting cargo ships through hostile space, he'd saved enough to buy this remote patch of alien desert. The other species thought humans were insane for colonizing harsh environments, but Leo knew better. Humans thrived where others merely survived. The dome stood like a transparent bubble against the orange sky, its bioadaptive walls filtering the harsh radiation. Leo spent his first week installing moisture collectors and setting up his workshop. He'd chosen this location specifically because the surveys showed an underground river somewhere nearby, though previous owners had never found it. On the 8th day, while tracking his perimeter sensors, Leo noticed something odd. The temperature readings spiked near a cluster of crystalline formations 2 kilometers north. Curious, he grabbed his gear and headed out in the scorching heat. The crystals hummed with an energy that made his teeth ache. As he approached, he heard something impossible, the sound of running water. Following the sound through a narrow canyon, Leo emerged into a hidden oasis that defied all logic. A river of liquid silver flowed through a grove of bioluminescent trees. The water sparkled with an inner light and the air temperature dropped 30 degrees. But what made Leo freeze wasn't the impossible river. It was the 4 figures bathing in its waters. They were humanoid but covered in scales that shifted from deep purple to electric blue. Their faces were achingly beautiful, with elongated features and eyes that held the wisdom of centuries. Most striking were the wings folded against their backs and the long serpentine tails that swished through the water. Dragon women, Leo's mind reeled. The ancient texts spoke of them, the Draconi, first children of the stars who had vanished millennia ago. The eldest, her scales tinged with gold at the edges, noticed him first. Instead of the anger or fear he expected, she tilted her head with curiosity. "A human," she said, her voice like wind chimes. "It has been 3,000 years since we've seen one of your kind." Leo's pilot training kicked in. When faced with the unknown, stay calm and communicate. "I apologize for intruding. I own the dome to the south. I didn't know anyone lived here." The 4 sisters exchanged glances that seemed to convey entire conversations. The youngest, barely looking adult by human standards, giggled, a sound like silver bells. "No one does live here," said another sister, her scales darker, almost midnight blue. "We come here to bathe every lunar cycle. This river appears only for us." "I'm Leo," he said, still processing the impossibility of it all. "I am Sirana," the eldest replied. "These are my sisters, Velith, Moraga, and little Kimara." Akeem had been watching from the ridge above, her pulse rifle trained on the human. As Leo's partner and security chief, she'd followed him when the sensors showed him leaving the perimeter. The Draconi were legends, myths, yet here they were, chatting with Leo like old friends. She knew she should intervene, but something held her back. The way they spoke, the casual mention of 3,000 years, these beings were older than human civilization itself. "Your dome," Sirana continued, studying Leo with ancient eyes. "You bought it from the Merchants Guild?" "Yes, they said no one wanted it. Too harsh, too remote." The sisters laughed in unison, a harmony that made the air itself sing. "Of course they said that." Velith smirked. "We may have influenced previous buyers to seek property elsewhere. Dragons are territorial by nature." "But you're different," little Kimara piped up, swimming closer. "You found our river. That means the desert accepts you." Leo's engineer mind was spinning. "The river, it's not always here? How does that work?" Moraga, who had been silent, finally spoke. "The same way your human ships fold space, we fold reality. The river exists between dimensions, accessible only to those we permit. Or those the desert chooses," Sirana added, her golden eyes fixed on Leo. "Tell me, human, why did you really come to this desolate place?" Leo considered lying, but something about these ancient beings demanded honesty. "I'm tired of running cargo between stars. I wanted to build something to prove humans can make any world home, and..." He paused. "I've always felt drawn to deserts. They're honest. Harsh but honest." The sisters went still. even the playful Kamara growing serious. He sounds like grandfather, Valeth whispered. Sirana rose from the water, her scales catching the light like a galaxy of stars. Our grandfather was human. The last human we knew, actually. He died 3,000 years ago, but not before teaching us that your species possesses something unique. The ability to find beauty in desolation, to create life where none should exist. We've waited, Morriga said softly. Waited for another human to find this place to prove that grandfather's spirit lives on in your species. From her vantage point, Akim lowered her rifle. She understood now. This wasn't a chance encounter, it was a test spanning millennia. The dome you bought, Sirana continued, was our grandfather's. We've been its guardians, waiting for the right human to claim it. Leo's legs felt weak. But why? Because, Kamara interrupted, splashing playfully. Dragons need humans as much as humans need dragons. We have power but lack your creativity. You have innovation but lack our wisdom. Grandfather proved we could learn from each other. Sirana extended a clawed hand. Leo of Earth, would you accept the blessing of the Draconi? Your dome will never lack water. Your desert will bloom and you will have the protection of dragons. In return, you will show us that humanity has not forgotten how to dream impossible dreams. Leo didn't hesitate. He took her hand, gasping as energy flowed between them. Knowledge flooded his mind. Locations of underground aquifers, techniques for desert cultivation, technologies beyond human understanding. Akim chose that moment to reveal herself, sliding down the ridge with practiced ease. The sisters tensed, but Leo raised a calming hand. My security chief and partner, Akim, he explained. If I'm accepting your blessing, she should too. Akim approached cautiously, her dark skin glistening with sweat from the desert heat. Sirana studied her with the same ancient gaze. A warrior, the eldest dragon mused. Good, he will need protection. The galaxy has forgotten dragons exist, but some still hunt us. Then they'll have to go through me first, Akim stated firmly, surprising herself with the conviction in her voice. The sisters smiled, a sight both beautiful and terrifying with their sharp teeth. We chose well, Moraga declared. The human spirit burns bright in these two. As the suns began to set, painting the desert in shades of purple and gold, the dragon sisters prepared to leave. The river was already beginning to fade. We will return next lunar cycle, Sirana promised. By then begin the work. Show us that humans can still transform desolation into paradise. And bring snacks, Kamara added cheerfully. Grandfather used to make something called cookies. We miss those. With a sound like reality tearing, the sisters vanished along with their river, leaving only the lingering scent of ozone and stardust. Leo and Akim stood alone in the desert that no longer felt empty. So, Akim said finally, dragon women. That's new. Leo laughed, the sound echoing off the canyon walls. Partner, I think our retirement just got a lot more interesting. As they walked back to their dome under the alien stars, neither noticed the small spring beginning to bubble up where the Dragon River had been. The desert was already accepting its new guardians, just as 4 dragon sisters had known it would. The galaxy might think humans were crazy for choosing harsh worlds. But Leo and Akim knew the truth. Humans didn't just survive in desolation. They transformed it into something magnificent. And with dragon blessings and human determination, their small dome in the desert would become proof that some myths were meant to become reality.